My guest today, she's an entrepreneur, she's a wife, she's a mom, and she also wrote a book. She's the founder of the Body Ministry by Ori Ara, a private online health club for women. Her story is really inspiring and it's the perfect example to how to connect to your body and find your purpose. Welcome, Cassandra. How are you today?
You. Thank you for the introduction. I'm doing wonderful. I have been looking forward to having this conversation with you.
Me too, because there is a lot to unpack, and I want to dive directly into it
Okay.
with the name of your company, The Body Ministry by Ori Ara. I
Yes.
know you told me that Ori Ara is from the Yoruba and it means purpose and the body.
Yes.
Can you explain to us how did you come up with this name and what it means to you, to your heart?
Yeah. So the name was actually given to me well before my company as it stands today. I had another company, or I was starting another company with a girlfriend, and we were looking for names. And it was going to be an athletically themed company. It was an athletic brand. And we were looking for names, and Ori Ara came up after dismissing a bunch of names. And it was a name that literally, when we were going through it she said it, like my heart leapt. It wasn't even like a cognitive brain, oh, that sounds good. My heart registered it first. And as I
It
actually
started to
went and told people
vibrate.
about it, my heart started to vibrate. But as I people told people about it, they had a hard time pronouncing it. Most people have a hard time pronouncing Oriara, and I was being advised, oh, it's not a good business name, people can't say it. It's And I thought, I don't care, I don't know how to describe to you
It just feels right.
how this is meant for me. And so even after my girlfriend and I and that business didn't work out, years after that, or maybe a year or so after that, when I decided I wanted to start my business, I went to her and I was like, I know we came up with this name together, but this name is mine. Are you okay if I move on? And she already had enough business and everything, and it was no problem. And so that's how the name came to be. But I really had just this inner sense of knowing that this is bigger than just the name of a company, how I'm naming my company. It really is the beginning of a world that I'm creating, a lifestyle that I hope to share. And so it's meant a lot. To answer your question, that name has really to current day, we're like 5 or 6 years later, it holds a lot of emotional weight for me, definitely.
The name picked you, I feel like.
It
Can we
did.
say that?
Yes,
and
absolutely. It picked me.
and before going into the gym and the fitness and the body industry, you used to work in corporate life. Like I said, you are a wife. You have two kids. I know that you got into the gym after your second child. You tried to get rid of the baby weight. Can you take us a little bit into that time frame of your life?
Yeah. So, yeah, my job was in human resources. I had been in human resources for about 20 years. I loved it. I loved my career. But I got pregnant with my son about halfway through that. And I just struggled to lose the baby weight. Like, I had my son in my early 30s versus having my daughter in my late 20s. And so in your 30s, it's a different body that you're dealing with. I just couldn't lose the baby weight. And believe it or not, I stumbled into bodybuilding. Bodybuilding.com was a website that I stumbled on, and I saw all these impressive, incredible looking women. And I thought, I've got to figure out how to do that. And so I searched and I found someone, and it was horrible timing. My marriage was falling apart. I was broke. I was overweight from the baby weight. Like, it just wasn't a great time in my life, but something said, again, you need to do this. This is for you. And so I signed up for it, and I ended up competing for 5 years before getting my pro card in 2016. And what I learned on that journey is that as I was taking care of my body and learning all of these incredible things about having a body, I mean, that's what I feel happened, is that I discovered, oh my God, I have a body. And then I wanted to know how it worked. I wanted to understand how to maintain it, how to make it thrive, how to make it happy. I just wanted to know everything about my body. And so on that journey, I became a certified personal trainer, a yoga instructor. I was doing bodybuilding, obviously. I owned a gym. I studied nutrition and mindfulness. Like, I just became curious and fascinated. And as I was doing all of these things, as my side hustle to my corporate career, um, my career was going like this. My career was taking off. I was getting promoted. I was getting raises. I was given more responsibility at work. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't plan on this, but the better care I was taking care of my body outside of work, the more all of that showed up inside of me at work, and it was being recognized and I was being rewarded for that. Everything that I thought was my gym and my personal life definitely it didn't even spill over. I mean, there's no, you take you into everything you do, and I realize that it's like I'm working out in the gym, but that same woman goes to the office later and then is a mother later and does all of these things. And the results were undeniable. And so it became more of an, not even an encouragement. I stopped thinking about working out. I stopped thinking about losing weight and taking care of my body. It didn't, that was so irrelevant compared to how happy I was and compared to, how strong and confident I felt. And the weight loss, I haven't thought about my weight since that initial desire to lose the baby weight 14 years ago. I literally have not thought about it
It
because the
was the
things
start
that I
of the
do,
journey, but
the start of
definitely
the
not the
journey,
destination anymore.
100%, 100%.
And I'm quite curious because, for example, for myself and my sister was more on the creative side. So she was not really into working out or doing physical activities since a young age. And I was into sports, swimming, dancing, everything. And today, when I speak with my sister about working out, for me, it's such second nature. I don't have to think about it. It's normal. It's part of who I am, of my lifestyle. We spoke about it and we're going to dive into it a little bit deeper, but it's part of hygiene, really. And were you already into physical activities and sports before that point, or oh, you're shaking no, not at all. Okay.
I went to a Christian private school, and athletics were not encouraged. There was no competition. We didn't have basketball games or football games. We had little spirit rallies. They did not encourage competition. It was only academic. So I did not grow up with sports or anything like that at all.
And how was then the transition when you got into gym? Because you had a goal, but how did you manage to make it such a second nature, such part of your, I mean, today it's your purpose. So
Yeah.
how did you got into
Yeah.
that transition?
Well, I'll say this, two things. One, the gym actually isn't my purpose. Taking care of my body is my purpose, and
True.
there's a distinction there. And actually, my first full year of working out, I worked out from home. So after I found that bodybuilding.com, I worked out in my home gym. I went to Walmart, I bought some dumbbells and bought some little equipment, and I worked out the first full year. My first two or three bodybuilding shows were done from me working out in my garage. I actually didn't have the confidence
Oh.
to go get a gym membership and be one of those, buff girls. I was really intimidated, to be quite honest with you. And I had already started bodybuilding and I still didn't go. I was one of those people who got my gym membership on January 1st with everybody else that's new because they were having some sort of sale, right? And I needed to save money. So I didn't have that at first. It really took time for me to believe in myself and to get to where I'm at today. But that was mostly because I was in my head about what I thought it meant. There was no reality. I didn't need to take that long. I just want women to understand though that you might see someone in the gym who looks like, whatever you think they look like, but I guarantee you there's probably different thoughts and experiences going on in their head because I was definitely one of those women where you couldn't tell from the outside that I was so intimidated and all of these things, but I was. And to answer your question, like, how did I get around that? There was too much good that came from taking care of my body. It's
The feeling.
undeniable. I can't not do it anymore because and in the times where I have, either because I was sad and depressed or because maybe physically I was injured and couldn't, it feels good at first to be like, oh, I can just take a break. But that ends after like a week or so, and your body, like in my physical body, I can't stand the feeling of not being, it's not even about being active, but it's just about taking care of myself.
Mhm.
And so at this point, kind of like you said, it's just second nature, and it has nothing to do with fitness. Even right now, I don't lift weights anymore. I haven't lifted weights for a while, and there's a reason for that. That was actually beyond my control. I couldn't lift weights, but as it stands today, I haven't lifted weights for like 3 months or something like that. I haven't been in a gym in that capacity. I still look and feel amazing because my priority is taking care of my body. And there's
Mhm.
lots of ways that we take care of our bodies besides going to a gym. And
Mm,
that's what my business really ended up being about.
I really want to dive into that deeper a little bit. We're gonna do that just after, because
Okay.
I want to go back to a quote of yours from our previous conversation about the genius. You told me about the conversation you had with your life coach and the definition
Yes.
of genius. And
Yes.
when I heard it, it reminded me of a book I wrote about healing wisdom of Africa. And to me, it clicked because the definition are quite similar. The definition from the book is it's the expression of the sacred gift in the person that connects you to the divine, to the other side of the world. I want to hear your definition of the genius and how that impacted you in your journey.
Oh my gosh. So I learned that the definition of genius is an angel that has been with you since birth. It still
Mm-hmm.
gives me chills. Like,
Yeah.
oh, it's so good. It's so good. And when I heard that, I was, yeah, in a mastermind meeting with my life coach, and there was several of us, present. And I was like, wait a minute, stop the conversation. What do you mean? Tell me more.
We have to focus on this right now.
Focus on this right now. And I later, went and researched it for myself. But it, once again, kind of like the name Ori Ara, kind of like stumbling on bodybuilding.com, it hit me in a place that it just registered like, I need to know this. There's something
Mm-hmm.
in here for. And so, in learning that's what genius meant, I'm like, well, what's my genius? What's been with me since birth? Like, what is, I don't think I have anything, because my interest in fitness and well being in my mind was a new thing. I thought I stumbled upon that when I was in my late 30s trying to lose the baby weight. But when I sat and I prayed and I meditated on it, the most incredible memory came to mind, and it makes me emotional because it just reaffirms. And so what I remembered is a movie I used to watch over and over and over again as a little girl, like 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, a movie called Heavenly Bodies. And Heavenly Bodies is a movie about a woman who quits her corporate job. She goes and she opens up a fitness studio and is, as a single mother, trying to make her fitness life work after corporate America. But then she meets some big bad, wellness people, and she ends up being falling in love and kind of being saved by this big football player named Steve. And then they, go off into the sunset. And when I remembered all of this, I literally started boohooing because I'm also a woman who quit corporate to go pursue my wellness, my fitness business. And I also later fell madly in love with and was kind of rescued by an ex-football player named Steve. And
That's
when I
amazing.
look at that, it's like I didn't put I had no memory of that movie. I had no memory of any of that until I heard what genius was. And so I believe that more now than ever, that if you're a woman who's looking for her genius, you're looking for your purpose, or you're looking for your passion, it's been with you since you were a child. It's just really giving yourself permission to revisit those earlier versions of you and give credit to the thoughts and the feelings and the interests that you had at that age. We're just so dismissive of them. And we're wondering, where's my passion? Where's my calling? Where's my purpose? and you're dismissing it more
It's
than
really
like
inside.
it's
Mhm.
already inside of you.
And to that definition we have in the book, they also say the genius is something that also benefit the people around us. And I think for you, it's the perfect example. How, no, when did you realize that the field you were in, you were benefiting, you were helping people around you? When did you realize that? That was really your purpose to help people around you and not really the physical transformation, but beyond that point.
When I started bodybuilding, I didn't know bodybuilders existed. Like I literally was like, what? Women have muscle? They lift weights? What are you talking about? So I saw bodybuilding.com, but then I went to like YouTube and Google and I was looking for bodybuild, single mom, bodybuilder, bodybuilders from corp. I was doing searches, I was looking and I didn't find anything. And
Mm.
so I thought, well, there's got to be somebody, right? But I couldn't find her. And so I decided, okay, well, I can't find what I'm looking for. So let me be her. Let me, in case some other Black single mother or any single mother, or in case some other corporate woman comes behind me and has an interest in lifting weights and taking care of her body, and she has no idea what to expect, let me leave her some clues. Let me leave her some notes. And so my bodybuilding journey is documented from the very first show on my very first, yeah, my very first bodybuilding show on my old YouTube channel, and all the way through to, I don't think I finished with when I went pro, but close to it. But I did that for years and it didn't grow. It's not that I gained this huge following, but it's more so that people did slowly start to trickle in and they had questions and they started being interested. And I realized, oh my gosh, like there really is an unmet um there's unmet questions out there. Like we see these beautiful, amazing women, but who's answering questions about how to get
Mm-hmm.
there, And so it was just the absence in my life and the questions that I had that were going unanswered that made me realize there's other women too. And so I was like, well, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to share what I do know, and that started everything 14 years ago.
That's beautiful. It's really, let's figure it out together and sharing, sharing and growing during the process, starting from scratch.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's really that's beautiful. But
Yeah.
I want you to talk about a moment where I know at some point you said you were a little bit disconnected from God, and something happened where you got confirmation that he was here. Can you tell us about it a little bit?
So that was in the beginning of my journey. As I mentioned, it was a bad time for me to get started on anything new because my marriage was falling apart. I used to be married to a minister. My children's father, my ex-husband, is a minister, and we were married for 7 years. And I was struggling with organized religion and being in the church. Being the wife of a minister is a lot. And I left the church. Actually, I had a lot of questions, and I wasn't I left the church. And so my marriage ended, not that long afterwards. And this is all around the same time when I'm starting bodybuilding. And so when I'm in the gym or when I'm starting my bodybuilding journey, I'm starting my spiritual journey as well. And, I'm trying to talk to God. Is God going to still talk to me? Is God mad that I left the church? Is God mad that I divorced my husband? Like I would totally get that. But for something told me that there's still a God and that God still loves me and that there is more to I knew that spirituality was going to give me access to more than just the religion that I was a part of. And I was like, well, where is that? Like I left the church because I felt something calling me to more, but where is the more? So one
Mm.
day in the gym, I'm getting ready for my first bodybuilding show, and it's peak week. And peak week's the day before or the week before you hit the stage. And so you're doing all the last minute touches to your body. And it's a miserable week. You're working out twice a day sometimes. You're doing fasted cardio in the morning. You're lifting heavy in the evening. You're not eating that many carbs. You're
Quite
drinking
heavy.
hella water. you're drinking hella water to dehydrate your body. You're trying to
Mm.
push and flush water out so your muscles pop more. Like it's an awful, awful week. And I was dying in the gym. I was like, I can't make it. And then all of a sudden, I swear to goodness, out of the clear blue sky, I heard for the first time, loud and clear, God spoke to me, but from inside of me and said, this is what we came for. And I
Mm.
got an instant download, and I was like, oh. And that's when I realized that having a body is the point of it all, that God was thrilled to be experiencing life through me. So that as
Mm.
my lungs were aching, as my muscles were burning, as I had sweat on my body, all of those things that were making me uncomfortable was beautiful to God, because otherwise God's non-physical and got to experience physical life through me. And so
Mm.
that changed everything. I became so aware that I was a soul who had a body, not a body that just might so happen to have a soul. And that understanding changed everything about life. That's why I went down that deep dive of becoming a trainer, yoga instructor, owning a gym, because I felt like I get it. I'm here to experience life through this body. So let's figure out the body and everything else follows from there.
Definitely. I always say the body is like the vehicle, the
Oh yeah.
spirit is the engine, and the soul is what's in the passenger seats. How, what would you advise for the women that are physically disconnected to their body but are struggling to go down that road? Because in this new era on social media, let's be honest, we see the gym girls who are really focused on the physical parts, so it can be a little bit intimidating to go to the gym or even work out, also when you haven't been doing anything for so long, or it's not second nature for like us. How, what would you advise, and what would be the steps you would tell them to take?
So I get it. I first looked at those women, and then to a certain degree, I became those women um, that everyone sees online who thinks, "Oh, I'd like to be like that one day." And, you know, there's, I get it. You see amazing transformations and you want something like that for yourself. You think that you having that kind of a transformation is going to give you everything that you want in life. And so I feel like, fine, okay, pursue that and recognize that this is it's so personal. Any body transformation, whether you're trying to lose weight or you're trying to put on muscle, any body transformation is so personal, and you can't get there by watching, aspiring to be, being motivated by, even like no other person can help you. And so I would honestly even say stop looking. Stop looking at them and let this be between you and you, because that's all it's ever going to be. Even if you're in a crowded gym wearing the cutest matching set and you've got your tripod set up to get all the videos, it's still you and you. Like none of that matters. The results are deeply, deeply personal. And so my advice to a woman would be that the confidence that you're looking for, that feeling of like having it together, that comes by spending time with yourself. It cannot be gleaned. It cannot be like transferred through osmosis from anybody else and doing the things you see other people doing. It has to be between you and you. And that's what my body gave me, was my confidence. It gave me because I understood me deeply, intimately at every level. I know who I am because I engage with my physical self. And so if there's ever anything that you've seen about me or any other woman, um, it comes from a version of that. It might not be the gym, but there's something about how she deeply knows and appreciates herself. That's what's manifested and that's what we see. And if you want that, it starts as the internal work.
What would be a good alternative from the gym, but still to in movement, for like a first low step to start moving, but not the gym?
Yeah. So right now, I'll tell you what I recommend doing, what I'm doing right now, which is just walking and yoga. I walk every day for 30 minutes. I've got hills, so my walks are, they're kind of intense. I'm not, because there's hills, but I do a 30-minute walk. If you can find an incline anywhere, I'd recommend doing walking. Not power walking. You don't need a weighted vest. You don't need ankle weights or little, dumbbells in your hand. Just natural, old-fashioned walking, preferably outside in the sun. So that would be the first thing. If you feel comfortable doing that, I think the next thing that you could move into is yoga. And there's so many forms of yoga. And so I
Yes.
say yoga because of the mindfulness, the breath, and it does allow you to start to learn how to use your muscles. So if you're new to working out, I wouldn't even say, even if you have access to a gym, I wouldn't even say start with the gym. I would start with some form of calisthenics or yoga, but a way of engaging with your muscles that don't require any extra weight that you're pushing outside of yourself. I'd say get to know your body first. Do push-ups, do squats, do things that it's just you and your body, and learn how to do that. And yoga gives you access because there's power yoga, there's yin yoga, there's restorative yoga, there's so many forms of yoga that allow you to move through what your body needs. Some days you might feel strong and might be on your mat doing hella what's it called? Oh, I
Chaturanga?
just left my what?
Chaturanga? The
Yeah,
one when
thank you.
you, yeah. Yeah.
Really powerful, and you're up
Yeah.
and down doing sun salutations and chaturanga. Or it could be another day where you're like, you know what, I don't have that in me, and all I really want to do is breathe and stretch and connect to my body and my source. And that's still yoga too, and that is still worthwhile too. Breath work alone burns calories, but we won't go into all of that. But to answer your question, like I would say, if you don't want to go start in the gym, but you do want to start taking care of your body, walk and do
Definitely.
yoga.
Definitely. And I want to emphasize on the walk because okay, we already said working out for me it's second nature, but when I had my burnout, I used to go outside every morning in my pajamas. I said, okay, before I go take a shower, I just drink a glass of water. I put my coat. It doesn't matter if it rains, if it's snowing, if it's good weather. I just have to go outside to get a slap from the wind. And honestly, it's you have the time to start the day to let your brain breathe and the thoughts come in and go out, and really the when you start your mornings also slow instead of rushed by an alarm, and you have to be there and you have to be in a shower and then you have to be at work. Your body and your mind can follow up. It's
Yeah,
going too fast. And honestly, I will recommend to everybody morning walks are the best. And
I
if you don't
couldn't
have
agree more.
if you don't have time in the morning, doesn't matter when, but walks, yeah, it's amazing. And also not using earphones, because at the beginning I would put some music, and at some point I was not. No, I need to listen to the birds, to the animals, to the world. Everybody is waking up and everything is happening outside. And honestly, I think I had so many beautiful messages from God during those walks that I would explain to people. I was like, okay, never mind, they will never understand it. But yeah, I agree with you. I would definitely advise walking. It's we do it every day, but
Yeah.
it's amazing. It's
Well,
really a
that's the
beautiful
thing,
form.
is that we walk and we breathe every day. And so we take those two activities for granted, but they're the
Definitely.
two most, if you can be intentional with both of those activities, it'll completely change your life. And yeah, my walks are every morning, and they're meditative walks. I talk to my spirit team and my spirit tribe. I have mantras that I repeat. I set the tone. I bless my day, and I'm like, here's what I want out of my day. Here's the answers I need to receive. Here's the things that I want to accomplish. It's a whole setting the tone for my day, so that as I go about my day, I've decided the energy that I'm going to be in. And when something happens, because it always does, whether it's a person or a notification or just something in the world that tries to throw me out of that tone that I set, I'm aware of it and I can navigate back to it. But when you just get up and start going with the day, everything that happens is constantly ping-ponging you all over the place because you
Mm-hmm.
never set your tone. And so, yeah, I'm just double tapping on what you say. Starting your day with a walk is so powerful, and I've done that for years now.
Mm. Yeah. I want to dive into spiritual hygiene. I've mentioned it before a little bit, but before something becomes a habit or second nature, we have to go through the phase that we have to stay disciplined. But often I feel like that word is perceived as something negative, as if it's a punishment, as if it's something you have to do. So maybe for people not that don't have that hygiene yet, it's really difficult getting into that discipline. What does
Yeah.
discipline really mean?
Yeah. Gosh, this is so perfect. So there's two ways that I think of discipline. The first thing is discipline is self-love in motion. Discipline is devotion. Discipline is it stems from it is action that is following a deep love of something. Um, and what precedes that though actually is the other part, which is it's really hard to be disciplined when you don't have desire. And I feel that if you're struggling with discipline, it's because you don't know what you want. You don't know what you really want because the
Mm-hmm.
things that you really want, you naturally take those actions then to fulfill or to experience or to be a part of. And those actions are what we call discipline. And so, um, first search or allow the desires of your heart to live. I think we, especially as we get older and are adults, we're so bogged down by responsibility and being practical and being rational and being reasonable that when we have desires, they feel silly or, out of place or immature. And so we push them down and we think discipline is moving forward with all these things, all these responsibilities. Look, I don't have time for my desires because I'm so disciplined following my responsibilities. That's not discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Discipline is letting the desires of your heart come up and then taking the actions to follow that desire. And that's why it ends up being self love in motion. That's why it ends up being devotion. Devotion is just love plus discipline. You get devotion. And that's, how that looks. And so every day when I'm faced with the opportunity to either take care of my body or not take care of my body, it's not even really like a conscious decision anymore. What it comes down to is, well, I want to feel this way. That's it. I want to feel this way about myself, like in my actual body. Like this is the feeling that I'm going after. So if this is what it takes to get the feeling, then I'm just going to do that because the end result, that desire that I have, comes first and foremost. And I find most women have no idea what they want. They think they want to lose 20 pounds. They think they want to get into a certain size. They think they want, or they'll say, I want confidence, not
Mm-hmm.
understanding that those are all the side effects, right? Or not even side effects, but like that's not
Those are
the
layers
desire.
covering up what's really
Correct.
beneath.
Correct. So to answer your question, it really does start with a deep, deep desire. Let yourself be silly. Let yourself, daydream and be a creator. And that's the other thing is that the desires of your heart and allowing yourself to daydream are literally the energy of creation. It's literally the energy of God. And so discipline, again, it's a man-made way of looking at the things that need to be done. Like if God were a human and decided to make a world, we'd say that God was disciplined for creating the world in 7 days, right? Because we have his timeline. That wasn't discipline. God wanted it.
It
God
was
wanted the
devoted.
world. So he made the
Mm-hmm.
world in 7 days and he spelled it out how he did it. We look and be like, wow, how are you so disciplined? But I guarantee you God's not looking at it that way. It's just what he wanted. And so what do you want? You know?
But that's really true when you say often we don't know what we want
No.
because we chase the wrong things. We are distracted, and
Yeah.
even when we have some, okay, let's say superficial gym goals, we often people just lose track because that's not really what they want. So once again, I completely agree with it. And I want to jump to something you said earlier. So you're so dedicated to taking care of your body. But I want to speak about foods. Okay, we know that food impacts your vibrations and the connection to the soul and the divine.
Yes.
How would you how do you see food now that you've been through this transition? Was it different from before you were in? Tell us everything.
I didn't think about food. I mean, my favorite meal, I don't know if they've got Popeye's chicken where you're at, if
No,
you've
I
ever heard
don't
of
know.
Popeye's
We know it,
chicken.
but we don't have it.
Okay, so my favorite place in the world prior to finding fitness was Popeye's chicken. I get a four-piece dark meat, two biscuits, red beans, and rice. Like that's like the fattiest, like most disgusting meal. Like I couldn't eat it now. But like no, I definitely just I didn't think about food. We don't think about it. It's just like I'm hungry, my stomach needs something. I'll put whatever can land in my belly and
Mhm.
taste good going down. That was kind of the extent that I thought about food. I didn't know food affected my vibration. I didn't know it affected my mood. I didn't know that it affected my hair and my skin. I didn't know that it affected like anything. I just thought my stomach needs to be full right now. So let me get it full as quickly as possible. And yes, and so it has changed dramatically because food is information, food is frequency, food is medicine, food is it's nature, it's our how do I say it? Like it's it sounds weird, but it's like it's family. It's there's nothing more natural in the world than for us to eat. And so this confusion and even combativeness that we have with food is very odd. It's not natural. We shouldn't have guilt or shame or confusion or frustration around fueling our body. And so I really, have gone down many deep dives into the world of nutrition to better understand what does my body need and want, just what does it need and want, and then how do I get the outcomes that I want. I want to have beautiful hair, skin, and nails. I want to have energy. I want to not be bloated. I want to not have aches and pains. Like there's all of these things that I want as a modern woman. How do I get those things? 90% of it is through food.
Are there some?
90%.
Sorry. Are
Mhm.
there some food that besides Popeyes and I would assume every fast foods? Are there some things that you don't eat or would not recommend to eat? For
Oh, yeah.
example, okay, would you recommend to be vegan or be vegetarian or how? Because you have so many different types of diets, and what would you recommend if we want to be connected to our higher self?
So I don't believe in diets at all. If it has a name, it's man-made. I mean, that's just all there is
Definitely.
to
Yeah.
it. So I don't believe in diets. And the other reason to that is because I believe that they all work. Every single diet that is on the market works. The trick is, can you do it consistently? Can you do it till the end of time? They all work if you do them the way they're supposed to work. It's just most people can't can't omit carbs forever. Most people can't live off of what was the crazy Beyonce diet that was going around years ago? It was like
Is that with the
maple
meat?
syrup, huh?
No, was it something with only meat? No?
No, it was like
No?
maple syrup. It was like a drink, some drink she drank to lose weight for one of her tours. It was like a maple syrup diet or
I think
something.
I've seen it in one of the reality shows I'm watching, but I don't know
Yeah,
the name. Yeah, something really,
that
sorry to say
people
it, but
can't.
disgusting.
Yes, exactly. But people, it works, but people can't do that forever. And so that's the reason why I don't believe in diets is because they all work. They all legitimately work. Um, but to answer your question, I would first, though, I have a hard fast rule. I don't eat fast food. If there's a drive-through, I'm probably not going to eat from it. And I believe in I like to describe this as having discernment, not dieting. When people are like, oh, you think you're too good? Yeah, I
I
absolutely
am.
know
Yes.
that I'm too good. This is my discernment at play. I'm not on a diet. I'm not trying to be cute. Like when I've been at places and I could be at a party or a buffet and I can not eat 90% of the stuff that's in there. And people are like, ugh, I'm not as good as you, or, whatever the little things people say are. And when I tell you that there's just no desire, it's not even about me struggling to diet. Again, it's
Mm-hmm.
just discernment. And what that discernment comes back to is quality. I consider myself to be a qualitarian, if anything. I eat quality food of whatever it is. And so when I make food decisions, I'm always reaching for the most quality item in any given experience that I find myself in, and it's just that simple. And so for example, I don't believe in being vegetarian. I eat meat, but in most times I go out, I don't eat the meat because I don't know the quality of that meat. So I'll eat meat from a steakhouse because it lists the farm, and I can pick
Mm-hmm.
my cut of beef, and I can sometimes, depending on the quality of the steakhouse, they'll show you the steak that you ordered before, or they'll give you a choice of the steak that you ordered before they cook it, and you can have all kinds of specifications. So I eat meat in that case, in those cases, but I would never go to like a regular low, how do I say it, like chain steakhouse, like a Outback
Mm-hmm.
steakhouse or like a Friday's restaurant, like because the quality is different there. Does that make
Mm-hmm.
sense? And so my diet, my nutrition program is I eat quality across the board, period, point blank. If it comes in a bag, box, or a can, I'm probably not going to eat it because that means it's full of preservatives and all sorts of things that aren't quality. It has nothing to do with getting fat. It has nothing to do with that. It's my body has discernment. I have discernment, and we only put quality things in there. And so, the way I think about it and the way I teach it, it's just simply having standards for what you put in your body. It's not a big deal. Don't look at it as like, oh my gosh, I can't eat anything. No, you're only eating the good stuff. There's a difference there.
It completely makes sense. And I think I'm going to steal the Qualitarian because I've known from a young age I'm lactose intolerant. So for me, that was, even though I love cheese, I know I cannot eat every dairy product. And I think it was in my 20s, I found out I was also gluten intolerant. And besides those two things, I cannot have a lot of sugar, but I'm not a sweet tooth. So for me, it doesn't impact my life. Also sodas, besides Coke here and there, I'm not really a soda fan. Oily stuff.
Yes.
I wasn't doing all those stuff, so for me it was not really a big change. But when I go somewhere and I say, "Hey, by the way, I'm gluten intolerant and lactose intolerant, but don't worry about me. I will figure it out when I see the food or I go somewhere to eat. I know what I can have. I will always
Yep.
choose fish or just
Yep.
vegan because I don't, like you said, I don't really trust the meat when it's out there.
Yep.
I've stopped eating meat not because I wanted to be a vegetarian, but because I just realized that my body was not reacting as it should be to some type of foods. And it doesn't mean
Yeah.
I'm not eating meat at all. But for example, meat from Europe, I cannot really eat it because the quality is really bad. But when I go to South America or Africa, there is just less nonsense in the foods, in the meat. So then I can
You
allow it. I
cannot
will not.
do this in America. America's food, like honestly, it would kill you.
That's what
It's so bad.
everybody says. Yeah, that's
It's
what
so bad.
everybody
Like
says.
right now, everyone's been in town for the World Cup. And so there's all these videos of all these Europeans trying American food. They're like, oh my gosh, it's so good. But they don't realize they're going to leave America 30 pounds heavier. Like that's what's going to happen by eating at the places. When they're naming these American delicacies, I want to gag. I would never eat at some of the places where I'm seeing all of these, these World Cup visitors eat. It's trash. It's trash. But
Yeah,
hey, it's the American experience, I guess,
yeah.
enjoy. But to your point, it's a quality thing.
And I hope also that, like you said, you don't like the word diet. I completely agree with you because it scares people off to do the right thing. I think if they would just dive a little bit more into why we need some type of food, what the power of fruits and vegetables, what it does to your body, I'm still hoping that people will open their eyes on the vibration that it brings to your body when you eat those foods. Even for me, I like doing food fasting. It's really simple, but you get so much more energy when people think, yeah, but you're not eating, or you're just eating one type of food, or just how are you going to do? But it's, yeah, I hope everybody gets to experience that at some point. I don't know if you've been doing
No, I
fasting.
agree. Oh my gosh. So I do different types of fasts. Um, I usually once a month do a 3 day water fast. I do at the beginning of almost every month because it's a nice reset. It's a spiritual reconnection. It's a rebooting of my body, I feel like, for the month and whatever my intentions are. It's just when you remove stimulus from your environment, so that's removing the cooking and the preparing of food, and then removing the food from my in my body, removing that stimulus allows for a clarity and a depth of connection in time with spirit that you just can't get otherwise. So I do that, but then I also do a form of intermittent fasting that I call the feminine fast, which is just taking intermittent fasting and flipping it, because most people will fast all day and eat in the evening, and that is the worst way to eat as a woman, especially
Definitely.
a woman who's still hormonal. You know, maybe once you get past your menopause, it's different, but while you're still very hormonal, it's not a good idea. So I front load my day. I eat like as soon as I have my walk in the morning, it's usually about 30 minutes. The very first thing I do is eat. I eat within 30 minutes of waking up. And then I eat up until, 5-ish in the evening. And I'm not eating all day, but that's my eating window. And then I cut my meals off early to allow digestion and my body to calibrate to that input. So those are the two different types of fasts that I do. But I'll also just throw in that um, I treated my mental health through nutrition. I learned about food alchemy and I learned about the energy transfer of food. And when I say that that saved my life, I'm not joking with you. I was in a really deep, dark place for a long time. The gym wasn't enough. This is when I was working out every day, and everyone's like, oh, the gym's my therapy, but it's only an hour of the day. What are you going to do the rest of the time? And so that was when I
Definitely.
studied food alchemy and the energy transfer of food, and learning that literally food transfers its energy to us when we consume it. So when we talk about, oh, you are what you eat, that's not just some little cute saying. It is absolute literal fact. And so when I couldn't find happiness from within, I ate it. I drank 2 green drinks a day. I would drink a green juice in the morning and a green smoothie every afternoon because that was the only way I could get happy. I had to literally consume it. And these were usually vegetables that I had grown in my garden. I used to have a vegetable garden, and so I was growing spinach and kale and celery and all the different things, green apples, ginger. These were all things that were super duper fresh that I would blend up or juice and drink because I needed at least twice a day to infuse my body with the positivity that I couldn't find otherwise. And I did that for years because I didn't trust medications and the other things that were being offered to me for my mental health. And like I said, the gym wasn't enough. Therapy wasn't enough. There's a whole life that we live outside of therapy and the gym that I had to figure out how to manage. And I did that through food.
Food is really, I completely agree. It's really powerful. And to remind people listening, also what we eat has to be processed. And while it's being processed and digested, it's also taking a lot of energy. So if we eat food that needs so many hours to be digested, it's also kind of disconnecting us from hearing our intuition and what we're supposed to hear. So really, people should take that into consideration, that what you eat needs to be digested, and the more your body has to work for it, the less it's benefiting you actually.
Yeah.
So
And think about the energy of that food that's literally being broken down in your body. You don't have to have a name for it. But I want, as a person listening to this, if you just had a greasy fast food hamburger and french fries, that has an energy. I don't know what to call it. You don't need to know what to call it, but just understand that it's in your system being slowly broken down, emitting more of that energy. It's radiating like this off of your
Definitely.
body. So what is the frequency you're radiating? What is the frequency you're emitting? That's just something that I can't escape. Like when I think about what I eat, it's like, what do I want to radiate? I don't want to radiate French fries. I don't want to radiate like I really don't. I really want encounters with me and my energy to always feel the best that they can. And those foods just aren't going to do that.
It's a bit like now I kind of hear my mom saying in my head, when I was younger, the friends you have say also a lot about who you are, and I think with food is also the same.
Yes,
What you eat
it
and what
is.
you drink says a lot about who you are as a person. And we spoke about food, we spoke about movement. Is there something else you think it's really needed when someone wants to go through that transformation, even if it's physical, but to connect to the higher self? What is one element you would add to this mix?
Oh, there's two that I would add to this mix. It'd be rest and knowledge of self. I'm just going to assume you're drinking water with your meals and working
Let's not
out, so I won't
assume
touch
that.
water. Water would be another one.
Let's not assume that. I
Well,
can
then there's
promise
three
you.
things. There's You think so? Like, you're probably right. So, I teach the five love languages of the body, and two of them are what we've discussed. It's nutrition and movement. The first one, though, is rest. Most of us are under rested, and our body, all of the magic happens in our body when we sleep. From a biological to a hormonal to a mental standpoint, everything literally reconciles and calibrates and comes online while we sleep. Like our body needs that. And it is our invitation to the spirit realm. Before I go to bed every single night, I ask my angels, I ask God, I ask my ancestors, send me the information that I need. Whether I remember it or not, please deliver to me what I need to know so that I wake up able to act on it. And again, sometimes I remember my dreams, sometimes I don't. But that sleep, we're made to sleep 1/3 of our life. That is not by accident. I don't take that lightly. God has designed our body where 1/3 of it's supposed to be spent in the spirit realm while asleep. So I take rest, kind of seriously. So that's the first thing. The second one would be water. If you're working out and you're not hydrating, girl, what are you doing? Like, water is absolutely everything. I'm always double fisted. I always have a water bottle of regular water and tea, herbal tea, at all times. And both of these are blessed. So before I put the lid on each one, I say a little prayer or a blessing, stir positive
And then you
intentions into
drink
it
it.
because water
Exactly.
holds memory. Exactly. All of those blessings get consumed then in my body. And 9 times out of 10, you're moody, you're tired, and you're hungry because you're dehydrated. You're not actually in a bad mood. You're not actually hungry. You're not actually
It's your
tired. You're
body screaming.
dehydrated. It's your body screaming at you. And we are learning more and more and more about fascia and about how hydrated fascia literally works like God. It is the interconnected tissue that runs through our entire body that works like the quantum field. I won't go into a whole lesson right now, but the magic that lives in our body is activated by water and hydration. So that would be another thing. And then the final thing I would say is knowledge of self. The fifth
Amen.
love language of the body is knowledge of yourself. If you don't know who you are, it's going to be easy to feel like you're behind. It's going to be easy to feel like you don't know what you're doing and that everyone's doing better than you. On the days that I have bad days where I'm like, oh, nothing's working out for me, or why am I like this? And everyone's like that. Those are the days that I usually stop and go and learn something about myself, whether it's through my human design, my astrology. I could pull tarot cards. There's all forms of divination. Sometimes I just reread a book. Like right now, I'm rereading Happy Pocket Full of Money. And so I'll just do something where I can learn. And when I learn something about myself, it it makes everything else make sense. Like I'm like, oh, no wonder I'm this way and not that way. It's literally how I was born. It's literally how I'm made, or this is why this is easy for me. And other people don't know what I'm talking about when I say this because I was born this way, or vice versa. This is why this is so hard for me. And it seems like everyone else gets it because I was born this way. And learning these things about me, it's so free. It's the most freeing thing. And so when I'm literally about to spiral with a bad day, I can stop and go learn something about myself and it corrects me. It literally adjusts and calibrates everything in my body to be like, okay, well, that's what it is. Let's keep going. And so, spending time learning about yourself is one of the most powerful things you can do for your body and for your mind.
That's beautiful because I want to ask you a question about how what would be the signs of when for your clients? What are the signs that you see in your clients when they come to you that's that they are missing about their body screaming? Because, like you said, the knowing of the self, often we don't know ourselves. So when our body is screaming, we just ignore all the signs. I've been there. I've done that. What would be the biggest sign that you see that we are missing, that women are missing out there?
Anytime she says, I don't know, they answer, I don't know, always points to you're not listening. You know, you don't like the answer. Always. If a woman's like, I just don't know, no, that's where we start pause. Okay, I hear you, but we're going to pause right there because that's not true. That's not true. Your body is screaming at you and you hear the screaming. You just don't like what it's screaming. And so as opposed to pausing and sitting with what your body is screaming at you, you are assuming it's something else outside of you that you don't have access to, that you can't see, that you can't afford, that, you know, no one loves you. Like it's all these things that we want to point to outside of ourselves, but it's literally coming from within. And so anytime someone says, anytime anyone says, I don't know, I know she's not listening. If she says, I have this problem and I don't like it or I don't know what to do with it, that's a whole different, kind of conversation. That means she is listening. She is tuned in and tapped on. She just, might not like it or know what the next step is. But if the answer is ever, I don't know,
we need to pause. Oh, that's beautiful. I think it's completely true. Today I was having a conversation with a friend. We were sitting having coffee and she was speaking about some personal stuff. And I was asking her, what do you want? And she kept saying, yeah, I don't know. And as I told her, I say, you do know, but maybe you're afraid. Yeah. And you have to, shut down the fears and listen to what you really want, because you do know it's inside, but you let all the noise and the thing from outside just covering what is screaming inside. So yeah, I love your answers. I love your answers.
So quickly though, because I bet you your friend, she's feeling it in her heart, but like it gets shut down so quick because it feels so irrational to her that she can't even pick up on the hint of what she wants because it gets shut down so quick. So yeah.
I feel like you are with us in the conversation today. That's exactly.
This is women. This is how we act.
Definitely. I want to close this conversation with a definition that is coming from you. What is your definition today of finding your purpose?
It's listening to your heart. I am more convinced sitting here talking to you right now than I've ever been before. Even the first time we talked, even when I heard God speak to me from inside 14 years ago, I am more convinced now than ever that listening to our heart is the only assignment.
Amen.
That's it.
Amen. That's so beautiful. And I feel today you are my sign, because what you just said about it's in the heart. I had a session last week and that was given to me again and again as a reminder that don't forget, it's in your heart, it's in your heart. So thank you. I love that. You are my sign of the day.
I love that. Thank you.
Before we close, I know you have a book. I've said it at the beginning of the conversation. Can you just speak a little bit about your book?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So the book is called The Body Ministry. It's a playbook for a woman who's starting her health and fitness journey. Um, we talked a lot about this today about how the transformation that we're actually searching for begins inside. What we see on the outside is just the overflow from the internal transformation that women go through. Whether you're looking at women online or whatever, she might not be able to articulate this, but if you've seen a physical transformation, something inside of her changed first. And that's what this playbook does. This playbook walks women through 9 pillars of self care that are spread across your mindset, your spirit, and your body. And it walks you through this journey of getting to know who you are, getting connected to your spirit, and then arriving in the body for the transformation. And so, if you've ever started and stopped and started and stopped, or felt like, all the things work for everybody else, but they don't work for you, this playbook is for you. This is to help you with the tools that begin that internal transformation, so the external naturally follows. It's kind of a no-brainer at that point.
And where can we order your book?
Yes, well, please visit the website. You can go to enterthebodyministry.com or oriara.com. I've got both websites. It's also on Amazon. You can order it off of Amazon as well. So please look for it there.
I will put all your information in the show notes. Is there anything you want to say to the listeners before we finish?
I do, actually. There's one thing I like to leave women with, and it's that when you have a calling on your life, you must protect it with your health. And whether you know your calling or not, it's not important, but you have one. It could be to be a wife, a mother, a best friend, an activist, a fur mom. You have a calling on your life. And oftentimes I hear women say, "Oh, I die for my kids," or "I die for my business." And, no one's asking you to do that. The call to action here is, will you live healthy for them? So when you've got a calling on your life, please protect it with your health.
Amen. I hope everybody listen to your advice and follow through. Thank you again for joining me with this conversation. I loved it. I feel like there is so much more to unpack, but we're going to leave it here for today. So maybe we're gonna join again soon. But really, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. I love the conversation, and I hope you inspired so many women and other people around us. Thank you, and listen. Thank you. I will put all the information in the show notes. If you want to get in touch with Cassandra, with her book, her website, work with her, I will leave all the information. And until next time, ciao, ciao.